All right, welcome back. We're diving deep today into the habits of really successful people.
Yeah,
And everyone's always curious about what makes these people tick, right?
absolutely.
So you sent me this YouTube video called Top 9 Dark Side Habits of Successful People.
Mm.
I have to say that's a pretty intriguing title.
Yeah, it is.
It's like we're about to unlock some secret code or something
I think that's a great way to put it.
to success, right?
Right.
So I'm ready to kind of get a little uncomfortable,
Yeah,
see what this video is really getting at.
absolutely.
So the first habit that this video dives into is embracing solitude.
Hmm.
Now, I know you're busy. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
How does someone who's constantly on the go actually carve out that alone time?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That solitude.
Yeah, so I think it's about recognizing that solitude, that quiet time away from the noise can actually be a strategic advantage.
Yeah.
Think about the CEO who, takes a long walk every morning before the chaos of the day begins. That's not just exercise.
Yeah.
It's creating mental space for clarity and focus.
Oh, that's a great point. That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's like hitting the reset button on your brain before all the demands start flooding in.
Exactly. And even if you're creating these pockets of solitude intentionally,
Right.
even if it's just 10 minutes of meditation, a walk in nature without your phone,
Right.
you're getting your brain a chance to kind of process information, make connections, and come up with those aha moments that can lead to breakthroughs.
So it's not just about recharging. It's almost like priming your brain for peak performance.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of peak performance, the next habit the video highlights is extreme focus. And here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
The video uses this poker analogy, comparing extreme focus to knowing when to fold a good hand in favor of playing one that has a bigger potential win.
Yeah, it's about strategically choosing where to direct your energy for maximum impact, right?
It's not about blindly chasing every opportunity, is it?
Precisely. And successful people often have like a laser-like focus on their goals.
Mm.
And they're willing to say no to things that might distract them from that path,
Yeah.
even if those things seem appealing on the surface,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You're playing the long game.
So it's like saying, okay, that project sounds interesting,
Yeah,
but is it going to move the needle on my ultimate goal?
exactly.
Or am I better off focusing my energy on something that's more aligned with my vision?
Exactly. It's about prioritizing ruthlessly
Yeah.
and making sure that your actions are aligned with your ultimate objective.
Right.
Now, this doesn't mean becoming a workaholic,
Right.
neglecting every other aspect of your life.
Of course.
It's about finding that sweet spot where you're fully engaged with what matters most,
Yeah.
but you're also taking care of your well-being and maintaining a healthy balance.
Balance is key for sure.
Yeah.
But I can see how that intense focus, when applied strategically,
Yeah,
can really accelerate your progress.
it can.
And you know what? This ties in nicely with the next dark side habit, which is all about risk tolerance.
Okay.
Are you ready to get a little risky?
I think risk is inherently fascinating,
I agree with that.
wouldn't you say?
Totally.
And this video makes a point of saying this isn't about being reckless.
Right.
It's about
Oh.
calculated risks.
Right.
It's about understanding that stepping outside of your comfort zone is often where the magic happens.
Yeah. And isn't that where the real growth comes from, too?
Absolutely.
If you're always playing it safe,
Mm-hmm.
you might miss out on those opportunities that could truly transform your life. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Successful people seem to have a different relationship with risk than most. They don't shy away from it. They lean into it.
I like that.
They see it as an opportunity for learning and expansion.
Right.
It's not about just blindly jumping into the unknown.
Right.
It's about assessing the potential rewards, the potential risks,
Of course.
making an informed decision.
Yeah. So it's not about throwing caution to the wind. It's about being strategic and calculated
Exactly.
about the risks that you're willing to take.
I agree.
And this whole idea of challenging the norm,
Yeah,
stepping outside of your comfort zone, it seems to be a recurring theme,
it does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which actually leads us perfectly into the next habit that the video explores,
Okay.
rejecting the status quo.
Mm.
They even describe the status quo as a stifling cage.
Mm.
I like that imagery. What are your thoughts?
It is a powerful metaphor.
Yeah.
Because it highlights how the status quo can really limit our thinking and prevent us from seeing new possibilities.
Right.
Successful people, on the other hand, they're constantly questioning the status quo.
Hmm.
They're not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom and forge their own path.
That takes courage, though, doesn't it?
It does.
To go against the grain, to challenge the way things have always been done.
It takes conviction,
Yeah.
a willingness to stand out, even if it means facing resistance or criticism.
Of course.
But, it's often that willingness to challenge the status quo that leads to innovation and breakthroughs.
That's a great point.
Think about any major advancement in history. It likely came from someone who dared to question the accepted way of doing things.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not about being rebellious for the sake of being rebellious.
Right.
It's about having that courage to question things, explore new possibilities, even if it feels a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which, interestingly enough, brings us to the fifth dark side habit that the video highlights,
Okay.
which is relentless learning. The video even compares successful minds to a river, constantly flowing and absorbing new knowledge.
Right.
I love that analogy.
It's
What are
beautiful.
your thoughts on that?
I think it beautifully illustrates how successful people approach learning.
Yeah.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about cultivating this mindset of continuous growth and expansion. They're always seeking new information,
Yeah.
new skills, new perspectives. They see learning as an investment, not a chore.
Right. So it's not about cramming your brain full of facts and figures.
Yeah.
It's about nurturing a genuine love of learning, a thirst for knowledge that drives you to constantly explore and expand your understanding of the world.
Exactly. They understand that in today's rapidly changing world,
Yeah,
the ability to learn quickly and adapt to new situations is essential for success.
absolutely.
And this insatiable curiosity
Yeah.
keeps their minds sharp and agile, allows them to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's almost like they're building this mental muscle, this ability to learn and adapt, which is becoming increasingly valuable in today's world.
It is.
And you know what? This whole idea of continuous growth ties in perfectly with the next habit we're going to explore, delayed gratification.
Okay.
Ah, yes, the ability to resist those tempting immediate rewards in favor of something much bigger down the line. This one can be tough, especially in a world that's constantly bombarding us with instant gratification.
I agree.
It's like we're wired for instant gratification these days, right?
They are.
But the video uses a beautiful analogy to explain delayed gratification, planting a seed and patiently waiting for it to grow into a strong, fruit-bearing tree.
Yeah, it's a perfect analogy.
Yeah,
Successful people understand that the most rewarding things in life rarely come easily.
right.
They require time, effort, and often a willingness to forego immediate pleasures for a more meaningful reward down the line.
So it's about having that long-term vision.
It is.
It's that ability to see beyond the immediate and work towards something bigger.
Yes.
Something that might take months, years, even decades to fully materialize.
It's about having the discipline and the patience to stick to your plan,
Hmm.
even when it's tempting to give in to instant gratification.
Which I have to say is a perfect segue into the next dark side habit,
Okay.
radical responsibility.
Oh, this is a powerful one. The video emphasizes that successful people don't blame others or make excuses when things go wrong.
Right.
Instead, they look inward and ask themselves, what could I have done differently?
So it's about taking ownership of your life,
It is.
your choices, and their consequences.
Exactly.
Even when those consequences aren't what you hoped for.
Yeah.
I can see how that could be incredibly empowering.
It is, because when you take radical responsibility,
Right.
you're acknowledging that you have the power to shape your own destiny.
Yeah.
You're not a victim of circumstance. You're the architect of your own life. And that's a powerful place to be.
Wow. I'm already feeling a shift in perspective just thinking about it.
Right. And that's the beauty of exploring these dark side habits.
Yeah.
They challenge our conventional thinking and invite us to see the world and ourselves in a new light.
All right. We've covered 7 of these intriguing habits so far.
We have.
Each one offering a unique perspective on what it takes to achieve success.
Yeah.
But we still have 2 more to uncover.
Wow.
And I'm curious to see what other dark side secrets this video has in store for us.
Me too.
We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive, so stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're uncovering the so-called dark side habits of successful people.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this is getting really fascinating.
I agree.
We just finished talking about radical responsibility, that idea of owning every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a powerful concept.
Now, the video shifts gears and dives into something called emotional detachment. Honestly, when I first heard that, it sounded a bit cold.
It does. It does. It's definitely a phrase that could be easily misinterpreted.
Yeah.
But the video emphasizes that it's not about suppressing emotions
Right.
or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot.
Right.
It's more about developing the ability to manage your emotions so they don't control your actions, you know?
So it's not about denying your emotions.
Right.
It's about mastering them.
Yeah.
Almost like channeling them into a productive force instead of letting them derail you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about developing emotional intelligence. That ability to understand and regulate your own emotions and to empathize with the emotions of others.
Right.
This allows you to make clear-headed decisions, even in challenging situations.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's like separating the emotion from the logic so you can assess the situation clearly and make the best possible choice.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you say that being able to stay calm under pressure is a pretty valuable skill in any field?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether you're leading a team, negotiating a deal,
Right.
performing on stage, the ability to manage your emotions can be the difference between success and failure.
That's true.
It's about recognizing that emotions, while powerful,
Yeah.
can sometimes cloud our judgment.
Right.
Successful people have learned to detach from the immediate intensity of their emotions, allowing them to respond in a more measured and strategic way.
So it's about finding that balance between feeling your emotions fully and not letting them hijack your decision-making process,
Yeah.
which I have to say is a skill I'm still working on myself.
It's a lifelong journey for all of us, really.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, learning to navigate the complex world of emotions is a constant process of self-discovery and refinement.
Okay, ready for the final dark side habit.
I am. Lay it on me.
This one might surprise you.
Okay.
The video calls it embracing criticism. Now, I know most people try to avoid criticism like the plague,
Right.
but the video seems to suggest that it can actually be a valuable tool for growth.
It can be if you approach it with the right mindset. You know, successful people often view criticism differently than most.
Right.
They don't see it as a personal attack.
Right.
They see it as feedback, as information that can help them improve.
So instead of getting defensive or shutting down, they actually lean into the criticism and try to extract something valuable from it.
Exactly.
Now,
They have the humility to recognize that they don't have all the answers.
yeah.
And they're always open to learning and growing.
Right.
They understand that even negative feedback can offer valuable insights that they might have missed on their own.
So it's about detaching your ego from the feedback,
Wow.
focusing on the message.
It is.
Even if the delivery isn't ideal,
Yeah.
it's about seeing criticism as an opportunity for improvement rather than a threat to your self-worth.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to be vulnerable,
Right.
to acknowledge that you're not perfect.
Wow. I'm really seeing a theme here.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of these dark side habits are about mastering your mindset,
Yeah,
about developing a mental toughness
it is.
that allows you to navigate challenges and setbacks
Yeah.
in a more resilient and productive way.
I think you're onto something there. These habits aren't about being ruthless or cutthroat.
Right.
They're about cultivating a deep understanding of yourself, your strengths,
Right.
your weaknesses, and how to leverage them all to achieve your goals.
So we've covered all 9 of these dark side habits.
We have.
From embracing solitude to emotional detachment to even welcoming criticism.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
What are your overall thoughts on these less conventional success strategies?
I think what's most fascinating is that these habits are not often talked about. Yet they seem to be common threads in many success stories.
That's a good point.
You know, they challenge our assumptions about what it takes to achieve great things,
Right.
offer a fresh perspective on the inner workings of successful individuals.
And it's clear that these habits aren't just about achieving external success.
Right.
They're about cultivating a mindset that allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience, grace, and even a sense of humor.
Absolutely. These habits are about personal growth just as much as they are about achieving specific goals.
Now, I know we've thrown a lot of information at you, 9 dark side habits in total.
It's a lot to digest.
So before we jump into practical applications,
Yeah?
let's take a moment to reflect.
Okay.
Of these 9 habits, which one resonates with you the most right now?
That is a great question.
Which one do you feel could have the biggest impact on your life if you were to really focus on developing it?
I think that's a great question for everyone to consider.
Yeah.
And remember, you don't have to master all of them at once.
Right.
Start with one or two that feel most relevant to your current goals and aspirations.
We'll be back soon to explore some practical ways to integrate these dark side habits into your own life.
Looking forward to it.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll turn these insights into actionable strategies.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. So we've explored these 9 intriguing dark side habits.
We have.
And now it's time to make them work for us.
Absolutely.
Because what good is all this insight if we don't actually apply it right?
Knowing is only half the battle. The real transformation comes from putting these habits into practice.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Right.
We talked about embracing solitude, creating that mental space for clarity and focus.
Yeah.
For someone who's juggling work, family, a million other things.
Right.
Where do they even begin to carve out that alone time?
You'd be surprised how much you can achieve with even small pockets of solitude.
Mm.
Think micro, not macro.
Okay.
Instead of aiming for an hour-long meditation retreat,
Right.
maybe it's 5 minutes of mindful breathing first thing in the morning.
So it's about being realistic and finding those little moments throughout the day where you can disconnect and recharge.
Exactly. Even something as simple as taking a walk during your lunch break without your phone can make a difference. It's about being intentional about creating those boundaries.
Right.
And protecting your mental space.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, extreme focus, that laser-like concentration. That's something I think we could all use a little more of.
I agree.
Any tips for harnessing that focus?
Yeah.
When you've got a million distractions pulling you in different directions.
One technique I find incredibly effective is time boxing.
Okay.
Decide in advance how much time you're going to dedicate to a specific task.
Right.
Set a timer and commit to focusing solely on that task for the allotted time.
So it's about setting those clear boundaries and eliminating distractions.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a short burst of time.
Precisely. Turn off notifications. Put your phone on silent. Maybe even use a website blocker to prevent yourself from getting sucked into that social media vortex.
Those are great practical tips.
Yeah.
Now, risk tolerance, that's one that can be a bit daunting for some people.
It can be.
Especially if you're naturally risk averse.
Right.
How do you suggest someone dip their toes into the waters of risk-taking without feeling completely overwhelmed?
Start small. Think of it as an experiment. Identify one small area in your life where you'd like to try something new.
Right.
Something that pushes you just slightly outside of your comfort zone.
Like what? Give us an example.
Maybe it's signing up for a workshop in a subject you've always been curious about.
Oh, yeah.
Or volunteering for a project at work that stretches your skills. The key is to take calculated risks, not reckless ones.
Right.
Do your research.
Right.
Weigh the potential benefits and drawbacks.
Yeah.
Then go for it.
And remember, even if the outcome isn't what you hoped for, you'll have gained valuable experience and learned something new along the way.
Exactly. Embrace those failures as learning opportunities.
Yeah.
They're often the stepping stones to even greater success.
All right, on to rejecting the status quo.
Okay.
How do we break free from those ingrained patterns of thinking and start challenging the norms that might be holding us back?
Cultivate curiosity.
Okay.
Ask why more often. Why are things done this way? Is there a better way? Don't be afraid to challenge assumptions, even if they've been around for a long time.
It's about having that beginner's mind.
Yeah.
That willingness to see things with fresh eyes and question everything.
And surround yourself with people who inspire you. People who are thinking differently and pushing the boundaries in their own fields.
Yeah.
Their energy and ideas can be contagious.
Great advice.
Thank you.
Now, relentless learning, that insatiable thirst for knowledge.
Right.
In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information, how do we cut through the noise and focus on the learning that truly matters?
Be strategic.
Okay.
Set clear learning goals. What specific knowledge or skills do you want to acquire?
Right.
And then curate your information sources accordingly.
Okay.
Choose books, podcasts, courses, and mentors that align with your goals.
So it's about being intentional with your learning.
Yes.
Not just passively consuming whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
Make it a deliberate practice. Schedule dedicated time for learning.
Right.
Just like you would schedule any other important meeting or appointment.
Okay. Delayed gratification. In a world of instant everything,
Right.
how do we cultivate that patience and discipline
It's tough.
to delay those immediate rewards for the sake of something bigger down the line?
Start by becoming more aware of your impulses. Notice when you're reaching for that quick fix, that immediate dopamine hit.
Right.
And then pause.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what will I gain by delaying this reward?
Right.
What will I gain by waiting for something even better?
So it's about shifting your perspective from short-term gratification to long-term fulfillment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remind yourself of your goals.
Right.
Visualize the future you're working towards. That can be a powerful motivator when you're tempted to stray from the path.
Now, radical responsibility.
Yeah.
This one can be a game changer. But how do you actually embody that sense of ownership in your daily life?
Start by paying attention to your language.
Okay.
Notice how often you blame others or external circumstances for your situation.
So instead of saying, I'm late because of traffic,
Right.
you might say, I chose to leave later than I should have, knowing that traffic might be heavy.
Exactly. It's a subtle shift,
Yeah.
but it puts you back in the driver's seat. You're
Okay.
acknowledging that you have choices, and those choices have consequences.
Okay, emotional detachment. This one can be tricky.
It can.
How do you find that balance between feeling your emotions fully
Yeah.
and not letting them hijack your decision-making?
It starts with self-awareness.
Okay,
Pay attention to your emotional triggers.
right.
What situations or people tend to evoke strong emotional responses in you?
Right.
Once you're aware of your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for managing them.
So it's about having a plan in place for when those emotions inevitably arise.
Exactly. And those strategies might include things like deep breathing exercises,
Wow.
right, mindfulness practices,
Right.
or even simply removing yourself from the situation for a few minutes to regain your composure.
And finally, embracing criticism.
Yeah.
How do you shift your perspective to see criticism as a valuable tool for growth, even when it stings a little?
Remember that feedback is information.
Yeah.
It's data that can help you improve, detach from your ego, and focus on the message.
So instead of getting defensive,
Right.
you ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Exactly.
How can I use this feedback to become better?
And remember, not all criticism is created equal.
Right.
Consider the source.
Yeah.
Is this someone whose opinion you value? Is the feedback constructive and specific?
Right.
If so, take it to heart and see how you can use it to grow.
So there you have it. 9 dark side habits and some practical ways to start incorporating them into your own life.
Yeah, it's a journey, not a destination.
It is. It is.
see.
And remember, you don't have to be perfect.
No.
Just keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep pushing yourself to grow.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've gleaned some valuable insights
Yeah,
and are inspired to embrace your own dark side on the path to success.
absolutely.
We'll see you next time.